Now you are seeing a much more mellowed personality, yet some ripened policies that may not be working for the public. So it's truly a mix. When it comes to inflation, affordability, none of these have truly been addressed by this administration. And again, we're getting some incredibly different, unorthodox ideas around trade and the economy that have truly yet to be tested.
We've been reflecting this morning on President Trump's first 100 days in power. It's been an extraordinary few months. Enormous global tariffs have been imposed and then partially removed. Illegal migrants have been deported and the courts have challenged them. Peace in Gaza and Ukraine has been promised, but at least not yet delivered. No one can accuse the Trump administration of lacking in energy, but has it been an effective 100 days? Matthew Bartlett is a Republican strategist who served in the State Department during Trump's first term. He currently works as a strategic advisor in public affairs and joins us live this morning from Hawaii. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Cheers.
Well, lovely to have you with us. How's it going, do you think, for Donald Trump?
Well, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Kind of. Donald Trump is certainly back, and so is the blowback. It's a very interesting 100 days. You probably can't compare him to any other president in recent history. You'd probably have to go back to ancient history, to the pharaoh Akhenaten, who radically transformed all of Egyptian life. And let's remember, when Akhenaten was gone, Egypt scraped him from the history books, returned to their prior norms. So listen, Donald Trump is remaking government, the economy, the international world order, all at a very rapid pace. But the results are mixed at best. And probably have yet to really be truly seen, only a mere few months in.
Is he, though? I mean, is he remaking world order? Because he says a lot, but not a lot has really happened. I mean, yes, he's imposed tariffs, not necessarily great for him or for anyone else around the world. But in terms of those huge global conflicts he said he was going to change overnight, end the war in Ukraine, deal with the Gaza issue, he hasn't been able to do that.
I guess from an international perspective, the posture has changed. You saw, two regional wars break out under the prior administration. Lots of talk about who's at fault here. Certainly with Russia and Ukraine, you can certainly pinpoint it on Putin. But we had week after week, month after month, year after year of funding wars. Obviously, that posture has now changed. Peace remains elusive, a very difficult task at hand. Yet the president is a vocal international, leverage that is trying to bring people to the table. That is probably a good thing for the world, knowing full well that may not produce fruitful outcomes at this point.
What's the mood in D.C.? What's the mood among Republican politicians? Are they still fully supportive, or are they starting to question themselves and him?
Short answer is yes. When it comes to smashing bureaucracy, I think the Republican Party is certainly behind that. The shrinking of a big, bloated government that only got bigger during COVID. There's probably public sentiment beyond Republicans. Public sentiment, is probably strongly in favor of that. Yet when it comes to some of the more sensitive issues, when you think about, some of how Elon Musk and his Doge team has just gone through the government, when it comes to some of the entitlement programs like Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, that's where you're having Republicans and even the Trump administration, voicing concern as to, just how far either these cuts go or what the proper posture should be. So the Trump political realignment has really turned American politics on its head. He now has a broader, wider working class coalition, and we'll see if that can all be maintained through the Republican Party.
Well, that's the key question, isn't it? Do the public feel like they are getting what they voted for? Are they happy with these first 100 days?
Unclear. It seems as if the old talk was, people would take Donald Trump literally, but they didn't take him seriously, whereas voters did the opposite, took him seriously, but did not take him literally. Now, in Trump, take two, it seems as if it's quite possible that the opposite is true, that he really did mean what he said on the campaign trail with regards to tariffs and the economy. And it seems as if, the pain that we've seen at Wall Street has bled over into the public. It seems as if some of these policy. Let's remember the first term. It was a personality that we had never seen before from an American president. That was a huge turnoff. Yet the policies created prosperity domestically and peace internationally. Now you are seeing a much more mellowed personality, yet some ripened policies that may not be working for the public. So it's truly a mix. When it comes to inflation, affordability, none of these have truly been addressed by this administration. And again, we're getting some incredibly different, unorthodox ideas around trade and the economy that have truly yet to be tested.
Yeah, and that's a really big political risk for Donald Trump. What will the difference be when Elon Musk leaves? We know that he is leaving, or he's at least stepping back from his more central role alongside Donald Trump. Will we see a difference there?
Unclear. It appears as if some of the Doge work will continue on, and again, there may be good reason for looking after such a bloated government. Yet it seems as again, how they've gone about it has not been very popular. Elon will be gone. Many people think he was a mere heat shield for the president, someone who detractors and Democrats can take aim at while taking their focus off of Donald Trump that could benefit the president. But ultimately, it seems as if Elon Musk, I'm speaking to you now on Starlink, an amazing piece of technology, that's only in its infantile stages. You think about reduced carbon cars, yet when it comes, amazing inventor, but when it comes to politics and government, it's possible Elon Musk may not have been as great as he has been in the private sector. And
then you talk about possibilities. What about the possibility of a third term? I mean, how realistic is it? Is it wanted? Is it something that's wanted?
You never, again, you never say never. We would always say he doesn't really mean it.
Well, your Constitution says never, doesn't it?
Well, absolutely, you're absolutely correct. Let me be clear that not only is he ineligible for another term, he's ineligible to run as vice president. Conspiracy theories everywhere. But this is a president who will be old. Running for a third term, I don't necessarily think would be popular. Winning would be very, not possible. And again, you look at someone's mere age, as we saw with President Biden being an issue. So I think this is all a bit of a joke. And it's possible the joke's on President Trump for even floating this stuff. But no, Donald Trump will not be on the ballot in 2028. It will be wide open on both sides.
And is that something that Republicans feel quite strongly? I mean, you are a Republican strategist, so you're saying it's a bit of a joke to even think about it, but he is clearly thinking about it, Donald Trump is. Does he have any support for the idea of a third term in his party?
I don't believe so. If you even look at his comments as recent as today, he's saying, well, you could maybe do it, but it's such a difficult thing. I'm not really interested in it. I do think part of this is to drive the other side nuts, to continue this farcical conversation where he's having a laugh. Ultimately, I do not, again, this is not something that I think would be realistic in terms of our Constitution. Let me just be clear. But then beyond that, a person who's an advanced age, and who's in declining popularity. So,
finally, we've been talking about emojis on this program this morning. You are closer to Donald Trump than any of us probably will ever be. Is he a big emoji fan? Do you know what Donald Trump's favorite emoji is?
I don't know. He is not to be known. He's known not as a texter, but if you do get a hold of his phone number, he will call you by accident. He will pick up the phone no matter if he doesn't recognize the number. A massive story, if you all remember, The Atlantic, an opposition magazine, caught up in Signalgate, went and met with him. and sat down with him, and they said they found him to be, who he is, who's always trying to charm, win over, no matter who it is. And he can be a very likable figure. And it was another funny thing that, one of the reporters said, "I believe you called me by accident at 1 a.m. after a UFC event." And he said, "Oh, well, I didn't mean to do that." So again, a rare bird when it comes to politics, a showman. But ultimately, you would hope that we produce some better policies, for the U.S. and internationally. And those questions, again, continue to be unanswered.
Matthew, thank you. Thank you so much for your time on the programme.
Always a pleasure.
That is Matthew Bartlett there, a Republican strategist who served in the State Department during Trump's first term.